Have you ever had a teacher who was, let's say, a little bit unconventional? I'm talking about the kind of teacher you remember for years, not just for the lessons they taught, but for their unique personality. Today, let's talk about Mr. Harrison, a teacher who definitely left a lasting impression on his students, for all sorts of reasons. Mr. Harrison was a history teacher, and one thing you noticed right away was his size. He was a very large man, which wasn't something students focused on, but it was part of who he was. The other thing you learned quickly was his mood. Mr. Harrison could be pretty cranky. 1 minute, he'd be explaining the Norman conquest, and the next, he'd be glaring at the clock as if it had personally offended him. His classroom was a bit of a lottery. You never knew if you were going to get the passionate historian or the grumpy guy who just wanted the day to be over. One of the most memorable things about his class was the frequent and sometimes urgent interruptions. We'd be deep in a discussion about ancient civilizations when suddenly Mr. Harrison would pause. His face would get this intensely focused look, and he'd make a swift exit. At first, we were all confused, but it became a regular part of the class routine. He'd just say, "Read the next chapter," and be gone. Sometimes these breaks were quick, other times they felt like an entire period. We got a lot of independent reading done in that class. His love for snacks was legendary. You'd often see him after school at the local corner store, and his purchases were always impressive. He wasn't just grabbing a small bag of chips. We're talking about the giant, family-sized bags, and he'd usually get 2 of them. It was a common sight to see him walk into his car with a massive bag of chips under each arm, looking more content than he ever did in the classroom. We used to joke that his real passion wasn't history, but the art of snacking. This all came to a head during our annual class trip to the History Museum. These trips are usually about the exhibits, but for us, the bus ride there became the main event. While everyone else was chatting and excited, Mr. Harrison settled into his seat at the front. He then proceeded to open one of those huge bags of chips we'd seen him buy. And he didn't just snack on them. He went at it with a dedication you had to see to believe. The sound of his enthusiastic crunching filled the entire bus. He finished the first bag before we were even halfway there. We all watched, mesmerized, as he immediately tore open the second giant bag and started on that one with the same energy. By the time we pulled up to the museum, both bags were completely empty. He just dusted off his hands, stood up, and said, "All right, everyone, single file. Let's go learn something." It was a surreal moment. Looking back, Mr. Harrison was a true character. He was a man of large appetites, both for history and for snacks. He might have been cranky, and his classroom habits were a little strange, but he was also unforgettable. Every student who passed through his classroom has a Mr. Harrison story. He taught us about the past, but he also taught us that people are complex and often very different from what you expect. And that's a lesson that stays with you. What's the most memorable teacher you've ever had? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.